Who's that dude? Oh, that's the DWI guy.
I accidentally hit that. And hello, and how are you tonight? I have Kaz here with me tonight.
The tech gods are not smiling on us very kindly this evening.
So we are dealing with it. Okay, it's going to be.
It's horrible, man.
Hey, you know, live and what it is and what it's going to happen. You know.
Who's that dude? Oh, that's the DWI guy.
It is going to be what it is going to be. And hello, and how are you
Where's
tonight?
that coming from?
I have Kaz here with me tonight.
Hold on.
The tech gods are not smiling on us very kindly this evening.
So we are
I can hear
dealing
audio
with
coming from your computer.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Okay, it's going to be.
It's horrible, man.
Hey,
There it
you
is.
know, how's that?
I can still hear.
Okay.
Well.
It was something else. I'll get into it later.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all up. I apologize about all that, everybody. And
Happy Sunday.
happy Sunday. We're here finally.
Fucking Team Old right here, man.
And I was not prepared to be the one on the screen, so what you see is what you see, everybody.
It's all dressed up and buffed out. Look at that.
But you know what? You have to roll with the punches, as they say, and you know when you've been in the military, that's all you know how to do anymore.
I don't know, man. Team Old has a way to adapt, and we kind of bitch and complain the whole way.
But we made it. We made it. And just so you know, Kaz is up and running for the most part. At least he's in his new house, and he's still got stuff to do. He's still moving in, but at the same time, at least he's around. He's able to get on air now.
I am able,
and that's the good. That's the good part.
I'm like 95% there.
You know, and that's at least you're getting there. So again, ladies, this guy's been doing all his stuff, and
Are you still trying to hook me up, man?
yeah, you know, hey, ladies, if you're out there, he is available, and he's been doing all his stuff, and he could definitely use some companionship at this point.
I think I'll be all right, bro.
Okay. Oh, yeah, why don't I go ahead and take my shirt off? Hey, you know, I have to laugh. I apologize. Like I said, I expected to be sitting in anonymity tonight and just being over the microphone, and well, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was going to be the guy on cam tonight, man. I got my green screen all up, and it looks okay. It looks good.
Yeah, you know, and hey, he
even got my WTF Nation radio shirt on.
Man,
I took a shower.
You got one of those? I need one of those.
I combed my hair.
Dang, you were all ready for the women at this point.
Oh shit! I was just ready to broadcast, man.
Damn, you know, and you got a WTF. I need to get a WTF shirt. In fact, I need a WTF sticker to put on my car or my truck, actually. I'd love to be able to show that off on base and spook some people. Start making.
So I got some news here on pertaining to Team Old.
Okay, what do we have?
This is an entire story about midlife crises.
Okay.
It says, beware midlife. You will be prone to sudden disrupted upheaval around the age of 50. Your productivity, creativity, and adaptability begin their decline. With them, happiness ebbs. Your best years are behind you. Naturally, your job, marriage, and shattered aspirations are to blame. If you or someone important in your life shows symptoms of midlife restlessness, be alarmed. The dashboard is flashing red. Everything in that paragraph that I just read is completely inaccurate.
You know, I have to go with you on that.
True, midlife is tricky and a vulnerable time, but most of what people think they know about midlife crisis, beginning with the notion that it's a crisis, is based on harmful myths and outdated stereotypes. The truth is more interesting and much more encouraging.
Okay.
Actually, midlife is the time of transition. For most people, this is gradual, natural, manageable, and healthy, albeit unpleasant. It is, in other words, the opposite of a crisis. The idea of a midlife crisis first appeared in an article by psychiatrist Elliot Jacques in 1965 and soon caught on in popular culture. Psychologists found no such phenomenon when they investigated, but the idea of the midlife crisis refused to fade. Then about 15 years ago, economists made an unexpected finding, the U-shaped happiness curve. Other things being equal, that is, once conditions such as income, employment, health, and marriage are factored out of the equation, life satisfaction declines from our early 20s until we hit our 50s.
Okay.
Then it turns around and rises right through late adulthood. The pattern has been found in countries and cultures around the world. A version of it has even been detected in chimpanzees and orangutans. So that's kind of cool. Life begins at 50.
I have to agree. But for me, it's for other reasons, but I do agree with that. For me, life started when I started getting better after my disability. So I can't say that it got worse. Actually, it got better for me. And I'm actually getting my health back, and I'm actually learning more about my health now. I mean, I've got the time to. And typically the people I know, normally by 50, because in the 40s is when they start learning all the medical problems. Even normal healthy people who haven't been in the military, they start realizing what health issues they're going to have. And from there, it just kind of, it takes a good 10 years to figure it out. And then you start doing better. Shoot, I know people right now that are doing so much better.
And I think, the older you get, the wiser you become, and the situations will force themselves on you, and then your years of experience, our years of experience, it just kind of teaches you how to respond and deal.
Well, yeah, and you tend to also be able to prioritize better. I don't get as frustrated as easily as I used to. I don't get as caught in the busyness of everything. In fact, I actually try to separate myself. Like, I tell people, disconnect. Back when I was 40, starting in the 40s, that would have been a much harder thing for me to do and a much harder concept for me to grab on myself.
I think when you're younger, you tend to want to control things. And it's just, now everything is what it is. I mean, I had a shitty time moving into this house, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nothing went according to plan, and the only thing I could do is just keep my head down and keep fighting. I mean, the debacle with the movers.
Yeah, no kidding.
When I was doing the renovation, finding all of these other issues that needed to be addressed.
Yeah.
Nothing was really working out. But what are you going to do if you bitch about it and complain about it? It's not going to get it done any quicker.
No, it's not. But see, that's part of getting smarter, getting older, getting wiser, is you realize what's worth your time and what's worth your energy and what is not. And that makes all the difference in the world. I can be driving down the road and some people would have their road rage issues, and I'll just sit there and go, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it anymore. To get angry at people, to sit there and go, I'm taking it personal. I just drive down. For all I know, someone's having a bad day on their side. So I just was like, okay, he wanted to cut it. He needed to be in the road a little bit quicker than I did. it's kind of, that's what you end up with. When you get older, you start getting wiser about that, I think. So, but that's an interesting article. Again, I agree. As you get older, you start getting wiser with things. So, onward and upward, my friend.
Yeah. Hey, what about that Arizona legislator that thought he had legislative immunity? We never got to that story last week, did we?
No, we did not. Hold on. I have that. I was actually ready, and... Oop, wrong one. There we go. There we go. Okay. And this is Arizona lawmaker apologized after video shows 140-mile-an-hour brag. An Arizona state lawmaker was seen telling a sheriff's deputy he sometimes drives as fast as 130 or 140 miles an hour after he was pulled over for speeding, and the deputy said in a report later that the driver claimed to have legislative immunity. State Representative Paul Mosley was stopped on March 27th outside of Parker, Arizona. The rural area near the California border is in Mosley's district and more than 150 miles west of the state capital in Phoenix. A body camera obtained by KLPZ and first published on its website, a La Paz County Sheriff's deputy warning Mosley to slow down. Mosley was going 97 miles an hour in a 55 zone on State Route 95, the news outlet reported. Mosley then says he sometimes drives 130, 140, and 120 while trying to get home to surprise his wife. He says he doesn't notice the speed because his vehicle's nice wheels and suspension. The deputy's written report said Mosley told him not to waste time on the incident because he has legislative immunity. I don't break the law because I can, because, I'm just not getting home, Mosley says in the video. Mosley on Thursday posted an apology on his Facebook referring to the comments to the deputy as a joke. My desire to get home to see my family does not justify how fast I was speeding, nor my reference to legislative immunity when being pulled over, he said. He said his comments to the deputy were inappropriate and showed bad judgment. While the state constitution does provide for certain kinds of legislative immunity, it's generally intended for actions related to legislative actions, according to a state manual. And a document from November 2002 shared by the House Rules Committee says speeding tickets as well as violations for driving under the influence aren't covered.
They're not covered under that.
No.
Yeah, I think that this guy needs to have at least get a talking to.
Well, I know when I was going through classes back in high school, each state is different about this, and the state that I come from, they are allowed to go speeding only when state legislature is in session and only during the week. And they even have certain miles per hour they're allowed to go over the speed limit, and that's it. So
I don't think they have any reason to speed. I mean, that puts other drivers at risk.
I agree with you, but each state...
That's my opinion, but...
Each state is different about that, and that's what I'm saying. I happen to be from Nebraska, and that was the rule. That was the rules way back when I was going through high school, and the reason being is because at that point we had a lot of rural roads. We didn't have a lot of interstates. So getting caught behind tractors and farm implements was a high probability.
That happened. Actually, that happened to me a lot when I lived in when I lived in Ohio, we were kind of in a country area, and it was just, you never know coming around a corner if you're gonna see some big ass farm implement in your way.
Oh yeah, and you never know how. I mean, they will be driving 3/4 of the way off the road, and their implements are still all the way to the white line, and there's no way you can get them. You have to slow down and wait, and you have to wait until it's open enough to where you can see around it. And that's actually part of the driver's test in Nebraska, is how to pass a farm implement. At least it was back when I went through. Of course, that's ancient times.
Yeah, you punch it, you check to see if the coast is clear, and you've got a dashed yellow line, and then you go.
Exactly. You make for it. Make sure you've got the room that you're hoping you have, and go for it.
Oh, and it's more than just a tractor, man. Those big combines.
Oh yeah.
Those things are massive, dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, and because anymore, farmers can't do little plots. The farmers have the big acreages, so therefore they have the massive implements. You don't see small tractors out there anymore.
Not anymore, no, man. Those things are huge.
So yeah, I mean the fact that he pulled that, I mean, that's just downright dangerous on a rural road. You just, like you said, you never know. You could be going around a curve. You could go up a hill and start going down, and you see a farm implement right there, and you're not going to win. You're not going to win against a farm implement. Those things can take a hit, and the most you'll do is ruin a tire. You'll ruin their tire. They'll ruin 3/4 of your car. Jeez. So yeah, he's talking about North Dakota. Yeah, hey, North Dakota just as bad. They got one maybe two state interstates, and the rest of it is small rural, and you just never know what you're gonna on the road. You could be driving along, and anything can get in front of you.
That's why I like Texas. It's pretty open once you drive out to even if you get east of Dallas or west of Fort Worth. The speed limits open up, man. They have 85 mile an hour speed limits.
Oh yeah,
out there, and it's great.
Oh yeah, they've got that in Montana. I don't remember if North Dakota or South Dakota do.
Montana used to be reasonable and prudent speeds, and now there's. I just drove there last summer, and there's actually speed limit signs, especially in the cities.
Oh yeah, in the cities.
But I mean, outside the cities, you can still haul ass.
Oh yeah.
85 is pretty good.
It's nice to be able to go that. Yeah, in some states, even the open state like Nebraska, they do not allow over 75. It's still regulated. Some states do, and some states don't. It's again state to state. You just never know. So is there a story you'd like to pull up?
Oh gosh, let me look. And I had a really good graphic for this too.
Oh.
Anybody looking for a job? You got 1 day left to apply at Mattress Firm.
Oh yeah, okay, Mattress Firm.
If anybody's a professional napper or a scientific sleeper.
Yeah, I saw that story. That's a fun one.
Houston-based mattress company is offering a dream job for those who want to be paid to sleep. A bed testing and snooze turns, kind of like intern, but they modified it, and now it's a snooze turn.
The wordplay.
Mattress Firm said it is accepting applications through tomorrow, which is July 23rd, for the paid internship, which would involve testing out new and popular beds while chronicling the experience in videos and on social media platforms.
Wow.
Perusing a degree in catching Z's, would you rather carry a pillowcase instead of a briefcase? This fall, you can snag the internship of your dreams at Mattress Firm's first snooze turn. The job posting is actually still on the company's website. The posting says applicants should have a specific set of sleepy time skills. If your greatest skill includes sleeping in, constant napping, and a passion for a good night's rest, we have the internship for you, it reads.
Oh,
Applicants
wow.
must be at least 18 years of age, proficient in napping, regardless of the time of day. Be interested in exposure interested in exposure to different surfaces, textures, and sleep positions, and and be passionate about sleep and comfort. It doesn't. I looked at that website and excuse me, and I didn't see what the position pays. But I mean,
Hey,
if they pay you anything, I guess it's better than a poke in the eye, and then you get to sample all these cool beds.
no kidding, right? I mean,
Unless you have to go to the mattress firm and sleep, but I don't know. I don't know the intimate details of this position.
well, and I think the big thing you have to kind of pick up on it is you have to be willing to do the whole social media thing. In other words, go on and sit there and say, hey, I just slept on this mattress, and boy, did it give me a good night's sleep, and I slept on in these positions, and it was perfect.
Or it sucked or whatever.
Exactly. You know, you think about today and all the people out there that talk about all these things, that you sit there going, how many of us could think about someone that would be just right for this job?
Dude, I don't sleep that much, so I don't think I'd be a good candidate for that job.
Well, unfortunately, I sleep a little bit more than I like to, just because that's part of the healing process with me. But even I don't know. See, that's the thing, is I wouldn't want to be going through the different textures. Like they said, you have to try out the different mattresses. And I don't know that I could do that, because I've got what I like. And I have the specific pillow I like. And to sit there and go, gee, I'm going to go and change all that up and hope it's okay. And hope I get a good night's sleep. If you're young, or if you're, someone like that, that's great. But someone like me, no, I like what I got.
Now, in the wintertime, I tend to sleep more. Just because it's cooler, it's more comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
It was a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. My job is really, really liberal with the vacation. So around Christmas time, we'll shut down like a week before Christmas, and then we don't come back to work until that first Monday after New Year's.
Really?
So there's we get a lot of time off, and it's paid.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
It was, I want to say it was 3 years ago, but for some reason, I pretty much slept the entire 2.5 weeks that I was off.
Wow.
And it was awful. It was really awful. I mean, I think there is a possibility of getting too much sleep, and I didn't like it. I was really groggy, and that's all I wanted to do, man. I'd wake up, I'd eat, and then I'd go back to sleep. It sucked. It was almost like I was depressed or something and just wanting to sleep all the time, but damn.
Well,
it was bad.
That's something that and I hear people relate to that. You can actually get winter depression. You down in Texas, I don't know what it's like in winter for you. If it's but the less sunlight that's available, the more chance you have of actually getting depressed, especially when when you're exposed to it as much as you are down in Texas?
I don't know. I kept the room by design. I hung 2 moving blankets, black moving blankets in the window. So it was black in that room.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, there was a big lamp, like a big street lamp right outside my window.
Ooh.
So I hated that. I really like to sleep in the dark.
Oh yeah.
So I just left this moving blanket up over the window.
Well,
so it was completely dark in there.
Well, here's my medical thought for the year, and it's the wrong time of the year, but you can get winter depression, and the signs and symptoms of winter depression: wanting to sleep, It's all the signs and symptoms of depression, except for you sit there and say, well, there's no reason for me to be depressed. I'm happy. And I even am looking forward to Christmas or whatever the holiday is. And what's going on is your body actually needs vitamin D, and it's not absorbing properly because you're not getting the right amount of sunlight. That can be gotten by going to sun booths, but you don't have to go to the ones that actually have UV rays. They actually have booths out there that give you vitamin D without the burn or the actual tanning. My medical thought for the week. It's something I hear a lot of people complain about. That's the reason I wanted to say something. It's kind of sad because it does happen a lot. In fact, my wife herself has to deal with that. And I know several other people, even on the radio station, that have to deal with that. So it's nothing new. And my gym membership, they actually have a booth that actually has the right lights for that. So it's out there. So, all right, well, onwards and upwards. Next, why don't we go to... A burglar breaks into an escape room and can't figure out how to escape. Two small business owners received an interesting call from law enforcement when a thief got trapped in their escape room in Vancouver, Washington. Police in Washington say a man who broke into an escape room, and if you don't know what an escape room is they actually have themes behind them, where you get certain clues to get you out of the room. They have themes. Some will go with zombies. They're usually kind of depending on what's popular at the time. Some go with different scary movie themes.
Here in Dallas, they do a lot of like zombie.
Yeah. That's the theme right now is zombie, because well, zombies are everywhere, right? Police say a man who broke into an escape room on Sunday damaged the room so badly that he couldn't escape. Ryan Wardlaw allegedly broke into the Northwest Escape Experience in Vancouver, cited the Clark County Sheriff's Office. Jigsaw Movies inspired terrifying escaping room experience, an owner of Escape Room, a locked room full of puzzles and clues that participants must solve in order to escape. Told the news station Wardlaw did so much damage to the business that he couldn't escape after breaking in. He apparently didn't know how to use the lock on the front door and was stuck, said Tamara Bedstrand. From inside the room, Wardlaw reportedly called police and told officials he was calling from the escape room because his own home was being burglarized while trying to escape. Wardlaw allegedly broke the back door handle before calling 911 several times. He reportedly gave law enforcement a phony address, so they responded to the escape room. Tamara's husband, Rob, told Fox the incident made him feel violated, as their escape room is a small business. God.
I don't know, man. I think that would be fun. I mean, I've heard of companies doing those escape rooms like as team building exercises. Some friends of mine do it just for they just get a bunch of friends together and then go and do that.
Well, the whole idea.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd like it or not.
Well, the whole idea is make sure that the theme, because like they say, each one of them has themes, but they also each of them have levels, and you want to pick something that will be fun. It will push you, but will be fun at the same time. You don't want something that you're going, oh, I don't know the answer. Do you know the answer? I don't know the answer. Well, we're done. You want something that someone in the room would know. And
I've done murder mystery dinners before.
And see,
that's nowhere near the same thing, but that's about as close as I've come to it.
Well, exactly. But it is actually kind of the same thing. Murder mystery rooms counts on the audience participation into figuring out who's the murderer, and depending on the murder mystery, it's either a play in front of you or you're actually part of a play and someone in the audience is actually considered the murderer. Well, the escape room goes off the base that someone in that room has the knowledge to get you through one puzzle while another person in the room has the knowledge to get you through the other part. And you build off that. It is a team building exercise. So
you can't just get the fat guy in the room to knock the door down?
Well, according to this one, it wasn't so easy to kick down. He had to call the cops.
Well, he called the cops, but then he finally made it out, but only in time to get arrested because the police were outside.
Exactly. So, again, people just not thinking, people not knowing what they're getting to. I mean, even burglars. I mean, of course, if you were smart, you probably wouldn't be a burglar because you'd go out and get yourself a job. You'd have the motivation. But you still have to sit there and go, things that make you go, that how bright was this person? Oh, that was those kind of stories are always always fun. People that get caught doing something that they didn't necessarily know that they were getting into.
It's just the stupid criminal stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not always in Florida.
No, that one wasn't in Florida. That one was in my state. But it was on the west side, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, those west side folks are nothing but trouble.
Exactly. So, do you have a story for me?
Oh, why not? How about the poisonous books?
Okay. I can go with that.
So, 3 rare books. Well, the title of the story is Poisonous Books Found in a Library at the University of Southern Denmark. 3 rare books dating from the 16th and 17th centuries have been found by scientists to be covered in a deadly poison. The discovery in a university library has echoes of the novel and film The Name of the Rose, which sees a string of monks in the 14th century in a 14th century Italian monastery killed off by the toxic pages of a forbidden manuscript. X-ray analysis of the books held by the University of Southern Denmark revealed a large concentration of arsenic on the covers. The volumes were being studied because it had previously been discovered that medieval manuscript fragments had been used by bookbinders to make the covers. In attempting to identify the Latin text used, researchers found that they were hard to read because of a heavy layer of a green paint obscuring the letters. The study of this green pigment layer revealed that it was arsenic, one of the most toxic substances in the world.
Oh, jeez.
Carrie Lund Rasmussen, an associate professor at the University of Southern Denmark, told Fox News, the moment we put the X-ray beam on the green surface, we saw the fantastic high amounts of arsenic. It is likely that it was applied to the books to protect them against insects and vermin.
Wow.
First, it's cool as hell. You find books and stuff that are that old.
Yeah, right?
But then it's equally as alarming when you discover that they're coated in arsenic.
Well, and that's just it. You got to think about the times. Like they said, they might have used it for vermin. If you think about those times, they had things to worry about back then. The plague, they had to worry about. They didn't have the sanitary conditions that we have nowadays. So books got ate as part of food from rats.
Yeah, and science was a lot different back then too.
Exactly, and they all. It used to be that kings and sometimes would take low doses of certain things, like even arsenic, to keep themselves immune from being fully poisoned. So you got to think they didn't, they knew what they were using, but you have to sit there and go, wow, that would be rubbing on your tips, contact. You'd have to know that that's on there to wear gloves, Or like they said, the monastery actually had a problem with that.
And the article doesn't say if anybody, fell ill.
Yeah, it didn't. I myself was a little curious about that, but I couldn't find any follow-up as to how they figured that out. Were people starting to just all of a sudden fall ill at the library? Was there an aroma that came from it? What? But seriously, the amazing things that people do. It's interesting, and the things, not all old things are things that you should be playing with.
Even KC says, and she's done doing random vintage bookstores now.
Yeah, no kidding.
And Luke
right?
says in the state of California, the book would need a Surgeon General's warning. This book causes death.
Yeah.
Do not eat.
Post a big sign above on the shelf. If you touch this, have gloves on. And have a face mask on, for that matter. You never know. Jeez. The things that we go through, right? Old, and like they say, you never know what you're going to come across. Shoot, I remember back in Europe when I was stationed there, people were still finding bombs under railroad.
Oh, they're still
tracks.
finding bombs today.
Oh yeah, when I was there, lady called in to actually the concern I was on, and I said, "Does anybody have an idea when they're going to come and get the bomb out of my basement?" Apparently the bomb had dropped there, didn't go off, and nobody had came. They finally went ahead and put a floor over it and left it there. And they just went about their business. And she said she was getting a little concerned because she'd seen on the news that they'd found some bombs under a railroad track and that they were highly volatile. Can you imagine?
Look, you get into some town in Germany and there's a big old UXO sign.
Yeah. I mean, you think about that type of stuff. They still have them. I knew some friends that were EOD, and they said that back in the 90s, they were still being called up to go over in Europe and go through some of the battlefields through World War I and II, because they still weren't fully cleaned up. So, some things that make you go, don't touch.
Between the years 1939 and 1945, Allied planes dropped 3.4 million tons of bombs on the Axis.
And you got to think
between 305 and 600,000 German and 330,000 and 500,000 Japanese civilians were killed by Allied bombs. Wow. So, dude, 3.4 million tons of bombs.
And you know that, what is it? You'd have to think at least 1% of those wouldn't go off.
I wonder if it'd be more than that.
Yeah, I'm just making a guess. Can you imagine being stuck in those? And then you've got, and that's for being dropped. Then you've also got the mortars being in field artillery that didn't go off. You've got all the mines that were put down during, especially during World War I. I mean, World War I, it was trench wars. And so it was constantly back and forth, and they were always mining trenches when they left, and then they'd win, they'd come back, and they'd have to undo all their mines and undo the mines that were just put there. And that was constantly going on.
Do you think the DMZ in Korea will ever get cleaned up?
I think that's another zone, just like what's still over in Europe. I think it's a disaster area. I would not want to live there, but there are people that actually live there, and I wouldn't want to roam it. I mean, they have, from what I'm told, they have trails marked out so you know where to go. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to go off those trails because they've mined those things very heavily, and they've had years since what, 1951, 52 to mine. Both sides have mined that area.
Yeah, I remember going to. I was in the Army Soldier Show, and we traveled up into the DMZ and then over to the JSA. And that briefing you get in that bus is like, if the bus breaks down, whatever, don't stay on the road. Don't walk off the road.
Yeah. It's intense over there. Being that I worked psych, I didn't get stationed over there, but I knew some psych techs that did, and they said that they didn't have problems with their psych ward was always full because of the tension over there. So, yeah, I have no doubt of all the things, the stories that guys came back with, even the psych techs, because they would rotate them off the ward to save their sanity and move them into a medic job, which, from what I hear, wasn't that great over there either.
Dude, the only tension I experienced over there was I missed the last bus back to the barracks.
Oh.
So I'd have to walk. We call it the walk of shame.
Uh-huh.
And at Camp Humphreys, it's about, I don't know, a mile, maybe 2.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not like when Red Leg was there. If you'd missed the bus, it was a considerable walk.
Yeah.
And then there was all kinds of turtle ditches all over the place.
Yeah. See, that's us old folks, right? We remember stuff like this. So, okay, onwards and upwards. Let's see. I've got a story for us. King of West African tribe returns to gardening job in Canada. Eric Minot returned to British Columbia to raise cash for his 6,000-strong tribe. The king of the West African tribe has returned to Canada to resume his job as a gardener in order to raise money to provide health care for his new subjects. Eric Minot became royalty when his 67-year-old uncle, Dot, passed away last year. After living in Canada for 3 years with his wife and small son, he moved back to southern Ghana to take up his birthright. He said, "It's a huge experience. You have to embrace it with passion. It's something of my heritage, my culture, and traditions. But now the chief of Akan tribe, located in the village of Andazi Amboaba, number 2, has returned to the North American country and taken his old job back. Moving back to British Columbia, he has returned to landscaping and gardening in the town in a bid to raise cash for his 6,000-strong tribe." This is humbleness, you understand. Anytime I'm in Canada, I'm proud to work for my boss. When he first moved, his boss, Susan Watson, started a foundation called To the Moon and Back, which sent the young king off with a shipment full of school supplies, clothing, laptops, and medical supplies. The owner of the landscape consultants, she traveled to Ghana for the ceremony and said, they're beautiful inside and out, and they have absolutely nothing. And you can come here, and most of us are miserable, and we want something more. I posted this story mainly because it gives you food for thought. A man who was doing a landscaping job goes down. He knows he's royalty. Goes down to his tribe after his uncle died, and because of how bad a situation he saw his tribe was in compared to what he had been exposed to, decided that he had to go and figure out a way to help his tribe. And he went back to work in landscaping, going back just to mow lawns and do whatever he had to do. And I thought about that, and I'm going, this is a man who could have sat there and said, my subjects, okay, we have nothing, but you're still going to have to do this. Or he could have done many things, but he took the reins and made the example. And I just sat there and thought about that. And that's...
I think he did the right thing.
Yeah, that's food for the soul to think about that. Here's a guy who he could have easily lived down there with his uncle, or like his uncle did, and been the king of the tribe and just lived off the tribe as his uncle did. But he made the effort. And I think about the people that are under him, that are part of his tribe, and the example that he must be giving them. What a role model. I mean, again, it's good food for thought, if you ask me. And that's the reason I thought about this article, and that's the reason I kind of brought it up, is because that's something that deserves to be thought about. And it's a good example of, we hear during the week about all this, that, and the other, people slacking and everything else. But this guy isn't slacking. This guy is royalty. And he's willing to do whatever it takes for his tribe. And that's an example for us, for our family. If it means we go out and we flip burgers, that's what it means we do. Because
it's just, Africa, especially in a village in Ghana, there's not a lot there to begin with.
No, there isn't. And he's willing to look at that. And he was willing to see that he could do something for them. And that's a beautiful example. And you'd almost think that at that point maybe he could set up to where he could send some of his tribesmen to maybe back, and they could learn more and bring it back to the tribe, and maybe get a circulation of information coming back in to better their tribe. But because he's been exposed to it, the more,
or bringing some of his village people, not the band, back to Canada to learn
skills,
techniques or whatever, to be educated, and then send them back to help out,
exactly.
to be their hands-on in person.
You think about that, and it's one of those stories that makes you want to be happy about what we hear and see.
And I bet you that earned a lot of respect among his people.
I would think so, and I would have no doubt that it earned the respect of the when he came back up into Canada, the Canadians in the local area. I'm sure that brought some heavy attention to them, to him from them, and hopefully they're gathering around saying, hey, send some more people up. Maybe we can figure out how to get some of these people into trades that will come back into the tribe and help grow the tribe.
I'm kind of wondering if, when he went back to his tribe, if he brought like bacon, maple syrup, and like LaCroix water.
You just don't know. You can't. It's hard to live without bacon once you've had it.
That's true. I made a pound. I started making bacon yesterday morning, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna put this on a sandwich. So I was just gonna make a couple of pieces, but then I'm like, well, maybe I'll make a couple of more pieces, and then I ended up just throwing the whole damn pound in there.
Oh, dude, I'm terrible. Used to go out camping with a group, and we'd get together once a year, and one of the guys would bring out this big griddle that was propane fuel, and I had a T-shirt that all it had was bacon on it, and we would actually cook. For that weekend we went through, I think, 5 or 6 pounds of bacon, and it wasn't the thin cut stuff. We're talking the steak cut. And I had a T-shirt with just nothing but bacon on it.
Like pictures of bacon?
Yeah,
Or
pictures.
you came back from camping and all your clothes smelt like bacon.
Well, that too, but no, pictures of bacon. It was just strips of bacon all over it, making a little puzzle of bacon all the way wrapped around. I think that picture's hidden somewhere in my stuff. I'll have to find it sometime. Someday when I feel mischievous and feel like pulling out something funny. Oh, well, off the subject.
Yeah, I got a story about drunk birds.
Oh, that's a fun one.
And they're not in Wisconsin.
No.
There's a lot of there's many seagulls in Wisconsin, but this story is actually not even in the continental United States. Dozens of drunken seagulls have become disoriented and confused after scavenging alcohol in southwest England. Some have died, and others are seriously ill. They're saying that the birds were probably feeding on waste products from local breweries or alcohol producers. The birds appear disoriented and confused, and they struggle to stand. We took some video of the birds who were staggering around and losing their balance, just like a person would if they had too much to drink. Mr. Cooper, who has treated birds in Somerset, added that sadly a few of the birds died, but most of them had made good recoveries, and they were released a few days after our care. He said the birds had been brought in during the recent weeks, and they were found on beaches across Devon, and a few from Birdport and Lyme Regis in Dorset. One rescue center said it had taken in nearly 30 intoxicated seagulls in a fortnight.
Wow.
Which is 2 weeks. We think they're gaining access to some of the brewing waste.
Tongue tie.
No, I haven't been drinking. I just can't say brewery. There's too much rurs in it. At first, the birds look like they have botulism. But then after vomiting, most of them seem to recover. The birds absolutely stink of alcohol, and we collect them now, and all of our vans smell like pubs. The Animal Welfare Charity said it had more than a dozen similar reports from the South Coast. It is now urging local breweries, distilleries, and alcohol producers to check their waste, or to check to see that their waste is secure and it cannot be accessed by wildlife or birds. The brewery waste can also be used as a compost and feed, so narrowing down where the seagulls are guzzling the alcohol from is difficult.
Wow. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but I bet you it'd be kind of funny to see a drunk-ass bird.
Yeah, it's sad because you know that the breweries, they have to know what's going on. Because they stick around. I've seen seagulls. They don't just grab and go. They stick around. They scavenge.
Yeah, and they'll eat anything.
Oh, yeah, they're just as bad as bears. They'll eat and drink almost anything they get their hands on. Or beaks on, excuse me.
When I used to fish in Wisconsin, there was a pier in Manitowoc, and you'd walk out to the like 3/4 of the way down the pier, and to the left or to the right, you can either fish in calm water or choppy water.
Yeah.
So you would fish with fish, like Edelweiss or something like that. So you'd hook this, you'd put the fish on your hook, and then you'd cast it out. Well, as soon as that hits the water, if it doesn't sink right away, there'll be seagulls on top of it, and you'll have hooked a seagull.
Oh yeah, I took my wife out to a charter boat to go fishing for salmon, and the seagulls it was like clockwork. About the time they knew that the boats were heading back in, started circling around the boats, because part of the deal when you go back in is you go ahead and the captains will go, or their mates will actually start cleaning the fish and dump any excess chum or anything that they don't want to keep. And they have this little board, and they just start pushing it up the board, and off it goes, all the excess goes, and you just watch those seagulls. They're coming in like madmen. kamikaze. I mean, they're getting their meals. So yeah,
And they'll follow you around too, man. As soon as if you're, Emery King did he had a video. He was at the beach with his wife and his family. So he just did a video of him throwing Cheetos
yeah.
at seagulls, and at first there was only like one or two. As soon as he fed one, there were 30 of them.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot, go on the beach. One of the beaches that my wife likes to go to on our vacations. We'd go on the beach. She'd go for her walk, and I'd just sit there and watch the swirling of the seagulls with the fish out. Just fish, certain time of the day would come closer to the top of the water, but then they'd start coming towards the beach, and if there was any food left over from the night before, or if I had any food that appeared to be out, they would start making their way up that beach and just checking you out to see if you're going to stop them. I mean, it was hilarious to watch because, I mean, it's like, you gonna eat that?
They know what humans do. I mean, humans throw shit away.
Oh, yeah. And they'll sit there, and you'll actually watch them tussle over it. For one will come in, they'll peck at it, see if it's food, and then if one thinks that it can take it away, they'll get up there. If one thinks it's too big for the one that's got it, they'll try to split it in half. They go at it. So yeah, it's interesting to see. It's sad that unfortunately they're getting into the brewery stuff, but again, those guys should know it because they don't just swoop in and leave. They stick around. So come on, guys, get your act together. And I know we haven't been on for 2 hours. We've only been on for almost an hour, but it's getting that time.
I apologize for all the technical issues, man. That took it's not even addressed, man. John picked up the torch and ran with it, man.
I was glad to be here. Everybody, remember, this is Kaz's show, and he is single, ladies. We're taking applications. Do you happen to have house cleaning pulled up?
I can check to see if I got an email.
I'll start.
How about that?
Why don't you do that, and I'll do the week.
Okay, do the week.
Starting on Mondays, we have Ice with Monday Edition, where Ice will go through and give you the current events from the weekend, and Flash will give you his take on anything sports related, along with his interpretation of anything political. Then you have Tuesdays. You have Tied Up Tuesdays with Minx and Gray Cloud, with Spurs substituting here and there. It's a good show. She likes to go through any current events and any playful time that she can get into. You never know what she's going to say.
Well, she usually has one of those the Minx Medical Minute.
Yep, she has Minx Medical Minutes, and she also, you never know where her mind will go. She's ADD to the extreme. And then Wednesday is our Donza, as Spanky so much hates us to say, where you will find that instead of a WTF broadcast, you will actually see a WTF gaming broadcast, where you will see KJ and his group go at it, slaying dragons and shooting down the bad guys. And then comes Thursday, where you will see active duty time, Sergeant's time with Ice again, and he will get you up on anything active or relevant to active and veterans. Then comes Friday night Freedom with Minx again and Pookie, where they are trying to kick off the shoes and relax and get you ready for the weekend and see what happens. Then comes Saturday Night Savagery with Jay Reddy and Pookie, and that's a tinfoil hat / who knows where it's gonna go. You just never know what kind of mood Jay's in time. And Pookie falls in and definitely makes things interesting with his hillbilly thoughts. And then comes back to us on Sundays, which is Kicking with Cause and Owl, where we generally try to keep it light, entertaining, and relaxing, and hopefully without technical difficulties. Is there anything for us in the upcoming weeks?
Yeah, 23 July, which is tomorrow. Army veteran John Mook Jr. will be on the show. John Mook is a peer support specialist in military mental health and suicide prevention with hiddenwounds.org. Hidden Wounds provides crisis response and interim counseling resources to military family members and first responders in South Carolina and beyond. They were integral in creating a military veteran-specific module of mental health first aid training, period. End of sentence there. John is a disabled combat veteran himself, having served 2 tours in OIF doing convoy security, as well as smaller deployment under USASOC. He is pursuing a Master's of Social Work to continue serving those who have served our nation.
Very good.
And next week on Thursday during Sergeant's Time, we have Major Pete Bogart. Major Bogart is speaking on behalf of I don't know what that acronym is, ABCT, the first ABCT, 3rd ID,
Okay.
who are the rotational brigade in Korea for the first time. Any 3rd ID unit has been in Korea since the end of that conflict. So Major Bogart will be on the air with ICE to discuss what he does and what the unit's doing.
Very nice. So that's our lineup for the next couple weeks. As we get in guests, we'll let you know, and hopefully you will join us on Twitter, Periscope, Mixer, Facebook Live, and YouTube. Tune in, download, and enjoy, and give us likes and follow us. Anything you can do, we appreciate, because we want to know that you're listening. Do you have anything else?
I don't. I think that's it.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody go. Thank you for showing up for our hour of technical fun, and have a good week, everybody.